Hello, this is ArtsyWisdom. How are you guys doing? My name's Diane. Thank you for coming by. First of all, I want to thank all my new subscribers, all my lovely comments about my little dog Tinky, Tinkerbell. She's better. Still not 100% sure what's going on. I think it's her spine, so that she's on that anti-inflammatory pain stuff, but she's a lot better. She doesn't seem to be in any pain. Um, a little yip here and there, but I think it's something that has to take time to heal. But otherwise, she's in good spirits, so we're so relieved. But thank you for your comments. You guys are great. It was really nice. Just got back from Vegas, watched the hockey game. Oilers lost. I don't know if anybody cares, but I know some Canadians might. Anyway, and then we saw a show. I would totally recommend it. He's called The Mentalist, Fred De Silva. No idea. I'm a hypnotherapist and I know how hypnosis works. But he did all of these amazing things that I have. It wasn't all hypnosis, but it was looked like it was reading minds. It's completely crazy. So if you guys ever get to Vegas, I think we got ours on a Groupon because we got it at a discount. Anyway, just a suggestion for next time you're up there. Came back with less money, but that's just how that goes, right? All right, today I'm going to. We got the CEO. I wanted to look into that because I heard on CNN, when they're investigating this, they have to look at all angles, some of which might be the family, right? Some of which may be, it's a possibility they prearrange this situation so he can leave the earth and his family could get, insurance money, that kind of stuff. I wanted to look into that and see if that was even a possibility. I also got into the energy of or the man who did this, and to see what he's thinking, what the purpose is, and that sort of thing. Very interesting. I also did a quick peek into France. I also looked into Pete Hegseth and his possibility of being up for the nomination. He's nominated to be the secretary for the Department of Defense, with the only training he has is in the military, not handling one of the largest budgets in the whole entire world. He doesn't know what to do. So I looked into that. I also looked into Trump's health. I was interested to see, because last time I saw him, he was really kind of not great, not uber sick, but just something. And so I wanted to check into that to see where that was. I also wanted to look into Harris and see what's happening with her and how she feels about things and what she's going to do moving forward. Is she still wanting to fight outcome of the election and say that it was fraudulent? And I looked into that. And I think that was it. Yeah. All right. Let's get started. Thank you again. I'm going to start with France. I didn't mean to start with France, but I know their prime minister had a vote of no confidence and threw everything into turmoil. And now Macron he's the president, now he has to nominate or appoint a new prime minister. And it's been a mess. But when I did, I meditated before this all happened. And when I meditated, I immediately saw a meringue, a small one, or maybe it was a meringue or a macaron, which Macron would get that. Is a macaron or macron? But it was a meringue, and it was very airy. In the past, I've seen mine as this giant meringue, which is pretty much squished down to nothing. He's all cracked apart. He's barely, thin now. But this is an airy. It still has all its shape, this meringue in France, but the energy I got was it's full of air, and the crust is not that thicker than Biden's, not as cooked, but it's air. So there isn't a lot of substance there. France has a very vast history, but for right now, the country is there's not a lot of substance. They need to build up more to create this more structured infrastructure, their economy, whatever it is, it's happening. So I don't know who he's going to appoint. But this was a mess. This whole year has been a mess for them. So I feel like right now, maybe it's filled with hot air, but things are going to move forward. I pulled some cards. I don't usually do that, but distance. So they are looking at all of these problems that they have, or all of this issues, and then bond. Look at this two ways. We have a bond with them, but I think of this as he's going to pick somebody that he has a good bond with, that maybe is a little bit more centrist, a little bit more liberal than the last guy, Michel Barnier, I think his name was. And it's going to work out well, according to this. And then Mr. Barnier will take off, or the country will take off a little bit better. Things will be a little bit easier. But what I read was that there's a lot of lack of confidence and they're just very different viewpoints. So hopefully that meringue will fill up with more solid things. They'll fill it up with a mousse or something, which would be weird. Okay, so the next thing I looked at, for those of you who haven't been here before, I see visions, and sometimes it's desserts or food, but I took my notes and I meditated beforehand. So I'll refer to those once in a while, so that's what I'm doing. When I looked into Pete Hegseth, the one who is nominated to be the secretary for the Department of Defense, crazy big job, not very many people can handle it. And somebody on TV, forget what channel it was, there's like, there's so many people in the world. Why do we pick someone with some old scandals who may have problems with alcohol? Why? Why did he do that? I know why. I've said this before. Trump wants a TV show. He wants a reality TV show. So he wants to pick pretty people. He wants to pick people that are good on camera and that he can make into characters on his reality show. That happens to be the government of the United States and his White House cabinet. And that's what he's doing. In his head, that makes sense to him. Anyway, so no, I don't think he's going to get in. I pulled I didn't pull cards. I just did a meditation. And I also remember his face. The journalists or the reporters were asking him questions in that hallway in Congress or the Senate. And his face, he said Trump still has confidence in him, but I could tell that he's on his way out. His eyes didn't look confident at all. And I also saw, if you take a blue sucker, these old suckers, when I was a kid, they had a blue raspberry. I forget the name brand, but I saw it in a puddle, like just a stick and a blue puddle on the ground. And that's him. He's melted. He's pretty much gone. It's gotten too hot. Maybe that's the symbol or metaphor. It's gotten too hot and he's melted. I don't know what the blue's about, but look into Harris. Is she going to do anything? I immediately remembered I had seen her as root vegetables, nice, solid root, a whole tray of them, right after she became the nominee back in July or whatever that was. And it felt really good. So much energy was positive. But I also remember just before that, when we were thinking about who would be the nominee, when he came out and said, he was going to step down. I think it was then. I could be wrong. I'm going to go back, but I'll show you a picture. I still have the picture. And it looks like a pretzel cracker thing, but it has all these little squares in it. And that's what I saw her as. And at the time, I was disappointed. I was like, well, there's holes there. I hope that doesn't mean she has holes in her personality or holes in the possibilities or her whatever it is that she presents. But as time went on and the energy got bigger and bigger, the root vegetable tray got that later it went kind of burnt, crispy. So perhaps my original impression with the cracker pretzel thing with all the little squares, little windows, was more accurate. Like I said, I see these things I decipher them as they come along, but I'm sharing that with you. I'm being authentic and just putting my heart out there. Anyway, but in the moment, I got into her energy and I felt like she is pissed. She is very mad. And she also has this etheric body which is like spongy, not solid. So it feels, it's not sick, but it feels, I know she's angry and she's strong. It's not that. It's more like it's open to getting permeated somehow, maybe because she's kind of down. And when your etheric body is down from illness, depression, sadness, you're looking for help outside, for a problem, you open yourself up. And that's why sometimes you get negative, energies, entities, even things that attach to you, drugs and stuff and alcohol do that too. You're open. So I don't feel like it's that with her. It just feels soft and squishy, like she's not protecting herself. There's something going on there. I also see her sailing away. She wants a break. And I feel like she knows there was faulty recording of ballots. She knows that. And she knows the system, and she couldn't find enough to flip the election in her favor. So she knows there were some problems, but there wasn't enough to flip it in her favor. And she knows that. So that's why the concession speech, that's why she doesn't seem to be fighting much. And I've heard other people on YouTube say, well, it's behind the scenes. We don't know. Maybe. I could be totally wrong. Fine with me. But right now, I don't see her as doing that. I see her very angry. I even see her angry at Biden. I think she's angry with him because he didn't step down sooner and give her more time. And I see her needing a break. I asked her, what do you want us to know? And she said, I am still fighting. She said, be strong and don't kill yourself over me. Basically, let it go for now. Move. I think that's what she said. Yeah. But the problem is that she wants to have a break. She's going to move on. I think she's coming back into politics. The energy's I think she's coming back into politics. But for now, she will. I feel like she's for 2028. I think she'll try again. So preparation. But she just needs time off to examine to see if there's any trickery or if anything is happening behind the scenes. And I have the incense going, so if you guys see any smoke in front, that's going on. Oh, and then we have the resistance. So when I got into her energy, I didn't see her seeing that much fault at it, but maybe this is about preparing for the future. I think maybe that's what this is about, preparing not just to run for another, the presidency, but also to invest in what happened, why. I think there's a lot of that might be happening behind the scenes for sure. What each of these machines can be capable of, and how they can be manipulated. So I do see her doing that for sure. So there's her. Now before I do Trump's health, which I'll get into, and his opinions about things, I'm going to look into that CEO who lost his life. And I looked into him, I got into his energy, and I felt like he didn't know what was going on. He's still not, he still doesn't know why he's not there anymore. It's still in shock for him. I know he's not here. His body's not, moving, but he is, he's still unsure, like, what happened to me? Why? Like, he's really in shock. So he's still stuck a little bit. He hasn't moved on. That's the feeling I get. And when people die in accidents like that, where they don't have time, they're not prepared, or accidents or crimes or whatever it is, they stick around a little bit more sometimes because they have to adjust to the reality. And so I think that's what he's doing. I think he's going to his family and he's addressing them. he's trying to figure it out. I still feel like he's trying to figure it out. He doesn't know why, even though I think he sees why, but he doesn't understand it. And it's like he had so many plans, and it just, you can't just end this like this. This is the feeling I get, where he's like, I do feel like he was really intense. I feel like he was Scorpio Sag personality, where he was deeply feeling, but at the same time, like out there, Sages are all about the truth and being honest and telling you like it is. But at the same time, I felt like he had this inner power, inner strength, inner drive that pushed him to be as ambitious as he was. I don't know. That's just the feeling I got. I also saw him as a strong cocktail. I don't know. Oh, his name was Brian Thompson, by the way. I should say his name. I don't want to disrespect him. And I say his name is Brian Thompson. And I feel like he was very intense. Like if you had a strong drink with not any mixers in it, like a Manhattan or something, like Scotch on the rocks in a short glass, and it's red, and it could be Manhattan because it was in Manhattan. I don't know, but I felt like it was very intense. And his personality reminded me of that kind of a cocktail. I don't know if he drank. He might have. Maybe that's part of why I'm looking at that. The other thing is that I saw his wife crying. I know they were estranged. That's what the news said. But when I'm looking from his perspective, his career took about 80% of his life, and his family, who he loved, was about 20%. So I feel like he was really focused on his career. Maybe it was just that time, but I think he's just very ambitious. That's the feeling I got, was very ambitious. I also heard some good things about him, that he was trying to be more compassionate and felt like things should be a little different, yeah. So it's sad. Now, looking into the guy who pulled the trigger. I got into his energy and I became immediately quiet. I was like so still. It's like the complete opposite of this Brian Thompson. So still, like I wanted to hold my breath so nobody would even hear me breathing. I feel like I'm hiding in doorways, and maybe it's just symbolic, I also got the impression, I was trying to figure out why, because I also saw, like I said on the news, that they have to investigate, and maybe it's because this person was hired by the actual victim. So I looked into that, and I didn't see that, just FYI. I didn't see that at all, obviously, because Brian was still in shock. But this guy, I feel like he is delusional to some degree, because he's taken it upon himself to satisfy the kind of mentally ill, where he absorbs the energy around him. Paranoid schizophrenic, maybe a little. I don't know exactly. But I felt like he was doing it for all the people. But he took on everybody's anger. I know he did it because he wanted to, but I felt like that fed that fueled that. I asked if he had a family member or somebody he knew that was sick, that didn't get the care. And I didn't feel father or mother. Maybe a brother, something like that. Or brother-in-law. Anyway, I do see him delusional, and I'm in this place, and then I saw newspaper, like hiding under newspaper, like maybe he hid kind of in a homeless area or something like that. But it was far away. It was like he's in this space and the newspaper was out there. It wasn't like he was reading it. Just, I think it's symbolic of him hiding, basically. And he says, when I asked him, now I need to go back, because when I said maybe the brother, but he said someone hired me to do the dirty work. They hated him and his company. Why? Because money, and someone has to start anarchists, maybe. So if I'm feeling like, at first I thought it was maybe a brother, but also he needed money. I feel like he's kind of mentally ill. He likes the idea of ruffling feathers, starting things. He knows guns. Why did you do this? Oh, illusion. So, yeah, I think what's happening is that he had this illusion of something. And not that it wasn't real, but he imagined, it just became a story, a myth in his head that he was going to do this, and what he was going to solve, and what he was going to start, and how he saw it as a a thing to give to the community or give to society, to take out somebody, like that. And he kind of enjoys it. This is play, meaning enjoys the idea. That's kind of like, who's the guy, the Unabomber, who wrote the manifesto? That's the kind of vibe I'm getting. And then release. Maybe there is somebody that he knows that died, and he's doing it for them. Don't know. That could be. But I did see him traveling. He planned to get to a wooded area where he could go and hide, like, not like Rambo or anything, but I do feel like he wanted to get lost for a while. I also felt like he'd done things before, not this blatant and not this outright, but he'd done other things before that were criminal in nature. And this is the more radical one. And something about Connecticut. I'm not sure about Connecticut. I know he had a false ID from New Jersey, but a lot of those states are sort of connected. Or they are connected. They're not sort of, they are connected. What was your purpose, man? Shooter man. What was your purpose? Memory. Yeah, maybe it is because of somebody. I also think this is related to a childhood thing where he feels like the disconnect or some of the mental illness issue comes up. And wrath. Yeah. Projected it onto this person. He was a symbol. Now, he had to be at the right place at the right time. He's highly intelligent, this guy. I feel like he's very intelligent. Kind of like the Unabomber, like I said. But he, anyway, delusion. Sad. Just sad. The whole insurance industry is a mess. Half the year I'm in Canada, and I have Canadian health care because I'm a permanent resident, and you go in, you get health care, and you leave. There's nobody taking your money. I know there's lines for like elective things or, and when people have cancer, it's kind of scary because sometimes you have to wait a little bit. Now that is scary. And I know people come down to the States to get like knee replacements, hip replacements, and just pay cash because there is a long line. But there's none of that. Lobbyists from insurance company, all that $1 billion world. Yeah. I think this might get the conversation started. All right. Not that we don't need this to happen. Obviously, I don't want that. I don't want anybody to get hurt. Violence is never the answer, but things occur and then time passes on and we have conversations and the community adjusts. Okay, so then I looked into Trump's health, and I also wanted to see about towards the end of December. I had seen this dark December, at the end of it. Now, when I'm in Trump's energy and I feel him, in the past I felt this like, not sick, but slumpy, like not tracking, his mind isn't clear. Right now, today, when I'm in his energy, I feel my arms are flailing and I'm walking down this hallway and I am yelling and get out of my way. And he's, F this and F that. And he's upset about something. and he's in charge and he's in control. And like I said, he's making this reality TV show from his White House cabinet, from the Oval Office, live from the Oval Office. Anyway, I still see his cake is broken apart. It hasn't melted anymore. But it's not getting back together. This cake, he's going down. He's having a good day when I'm in this energy today, and I feel like he's very angry and he's flailing. I think he's yelling at his staff. He's yelling at them because they're not doing something that he wants them to do, or he's mad about this Hegseth thing, or what's he mad about? Oh, I also saw that he's got some incontinence issues, like potty stuff. Yeah. So what's he really mad about? Yeah, he feels like, you know, it is when somebody who has dementia too, on top of just the environment of what's happening, he's remembering all the stuff that he needs to do and that hasn't been attended to, but he forgot that he forgets. And so he's mad at them. He's very irritable right now because he's in this in-between state where, you know, dementia starts and then the person gets really agitated because they can't remember, then they get confused, then they get clear days. And so he's in a clear day right now. That's the feeling I got. And we haven't seen him. I don't know if you guys noticed that. We have not seen him, or I haven't. I saw a picture of him on Thanksgiving when he was doing his little dance with Elon Musk there. But I don't know if he's been out being seen. If you guys can correct me if you've seen him. But what is he mad about? He's mad just partially because he didn't remember things and now he's remembering them. So he's irritated about that. He's also mad that there's pushback from the Republican senators. He's mad about the pushback from the Republicans at all. Everybody should just lay at his feet and kiss his ring. So he's mad about that. So that's just happening right now. He wants what he wants when he wants it. And then as the problem, though, the issue I see too is at the end of December, that dark December darkness where I said it was like a week to 10 days, I see him chipping away at that. I see him dismantling that. Whatever that was or is, maybe it's the resistance to his choices. Maybe it's some legal stuff. And now that he's getting these cases like pushed back or dismissed, that's some of it. Maybe it's his legal issues, but he is chipping away at that darkness where I don't see it as thick and heavy as it was. Yeah, maybe it's the Department of Justice part of it where Jack Smith, and I'm going to do another video on Jack Smith because I'm so disappointed in that whole thing. I don't know the law, but I'm going to look into that. But what I also see, the problem, this is the other thing I see, is, do you remember back before January 6th, the 2020, I guess it would be, they had this war room where they were planning all these things in the hotel room across the road or wherever it was, and they were all getting together repeatedly to discuss challenging the election, certification, all that stuff that they were planning. That's the feeling I feel like there's another war room, and it's the period between now and early January, like the 6th or whatever. They're planning something else, and I don't know why they would challenge the certification, because the certification is he would be certified as the winner. There is something they're trying to do. Maybe it has to do with legal things they want to do against Biden, fighting some DOJ proposals that Biden's putting in the works that will keep their hands tied down the road. Some of the judges that Biden's putting in place. There's something they're working on. And this is separate from the campaign people or the staff that he's accumulating for the transition. This is a sneaky group. This is a group that may commit crimes in a sneaky way. Well, obviously usually, but it's like that. It's some darker shit. Sorry. But that's what I feel like. And it has that same feeling of pre-January 6th. Like, and I'm not trying to say they're going to be a big violent on the Capitol. No, that's not going to happen. It's more about planning revenge or doing something direct. Like something direct they're planning to counteract something. I don't know what that is. So the darkness they were dismantling that was against them, they see now an opening to do this other thing. Sorry, that's very vague, but that's the feeling I got. So unfortunately, I don't like that. I don't. I also, let me just pull a card before I get distracted. I have a little ADD in me, ADHD, no, maybe not hyper, but ADD. My brother is super ADD. This one, I think it is. Oh, self-interest. So all of this is about him doing, protecting. Oh, I didn't notice that. See the little mouse? Taking the little mouse for dinner. So what are they doing? And everybody else has to watch. And that's not, I'm not talking about Democrats, but, oh yeah, I was going to say Harris, I forgot to mention that. She also was mad at the Democratic Party. They didn't help her in some way or do something. Maybe they were too split. I think that was another thing she was mad about. Maybe Nancy Pelosi, I don't know. Yeah, risk. Another one where they're stealing. Do you see how he's taking stuff? They're stealing shells or, yeah, so I don't know. I'll continue to check into that. I still see him being dragged over the inauguration date. I think it's going to be tons and tons of protests prior and to that date. And I think in January, there's going to be a lot of announcements that people are really going to be mad about. Yeah. Anyway. All right, people, look at the big picture. I know it's really hard to not get sucked into the doomsday fear or anxiety, but we've been through so much in this country. Things aren't the same as they were in World War II. They're not the same as they were in the Civil War. They weren't the same as they were in the 60s. People are different. What we know is different. Technology is different. Intelligence is different. Sometimes good, sometimes not good, and we're in a different place, and there's more of us too. So we will get through this. Big picture, love and light, send that to our neighbors so we all can be more unified one day, somehow, some way. Live in the knowing. All right, you guys take care. Till next time.